All right, thank you for coming now! 31 Triggers by Philip Galinsky. I'm sorry, I'm checking my phone. What? My condolences. I just got oh, it's that music over there. Hold on, it's messing us up, right? Who is that? So on my phone, I just got someone texting me my condolences. What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. My mom has passed away. What is this? I knew she was sick, right? I mean, obviously this could be a trigger, but I was like, what are you talking about? Because she was sick, she had to go to the emergency room, but she's back home. Like, what are you texting me? So this happened before, now I have to go back and call her again. So I talked to her and I said, I just got a text. People think you're dead. Oh, Philip, this condo. What? What's wrong with the condo? Well, the ambulance came to get me. I said, yeah, I know. And they put me on that stretcher, and I didn't want anybody to see me, so I put the sheet over my head. I said, Ma, you can't do that. That triggered me. I thought you were dead. She's like, no. It's just the people in the condo are different, Philip. You don't understand. So that's the beginning of how this started, my 31 Triggers. Thanks for coming out. 31 Triggers, the title comes from 31 Flavors, Baskin Robbins, right? So there's triggers all of us have, and some are mine, some are my family, which is here today. Some are yours, so I'm going to share them all with you. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And if you're going to say, wow, he's just going to sit here and talk about his mother all night. Well, if that triggers you, then tough luck. Okay? Because I do care about my family. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. I have 4 older brothers. I have a mother and a father. My mother's Italian. My father's Russian. They've been together for 50-something years. So things trigger them, thank you. Things trigger them that I didn't think would trigger people. Like her physical exam. She just recently had one. Okay? And I'm like, okay, it's not a big deal. She's like, well, I'm nervous. So they live in Connecticut. I call them once a week. So I called her to find out what's the result of the physical exam. And she's like, oh, Philip, he asked me a question. I said, well, that's what they do. They're doctors, Mom. He asked me if I was sexually active. And I said, no, I usually just lay there. Do you think he's a pervert? I said, no, it's probably the greatest answer he's ever heard in his entire life as a doctor, okay? So the book, it's a series. There's an adult version and a kid's version. So I'll mix in different triggers from different genres, if you like. Does that make sense to everybody? But I do like to concentrate on my family because that's the initial impetus of this book. Although my family gets no residual sales, it all goes to me because I'm the one who wrote it down and documented it. Depression. Does that trigger some people in this room? A little bit? Oh, you're happy? Good for you.
I never get depressed.
Thank you. Again, I called my mother. I said, Mom, how is it going? I'm depressed, Phil. Well, why are you depressed? I don't know. I said, well, I'm in therapy, obviously. My doctor said you should try to do something positive before you go to bed at night. What do you do before you go to bed? I watch the news, Phil. No, Mom, what are you doing? Well, do something fun? Yeah, do something fun. So the next week I call her, and she's bouncing off the walls. I'm hoping it's Prozac. But she found something better, she told me. I said, well, what do you do before you go to bed? She goes, well, I get the paper, and I get the obituaries, and I see all my dead friends, and I'm alive, Phil. I'm alive, and I'm happy. So if you need some non-prescription help, I suggest the obits. Okay? Now, my brother Robert is here, my niece Jenna is here, and some of these things they might not have heard. This is going to be the first time that some of these things I'm divulging. Or there were times when I was drunk at Thanksgiving and I couldn't make heads or tails of what I was saying. But this next trigger, again, this is another one from my mom. Although my brother Robert had great intentions for this device. The trigger is a Zen waterfall. You know those things you buy where the water goes over the rocks? It's supposed to calm you down. So I came and visited her, and I said, where's Robert's gift to you? It's supposed to calm you down, it's supposed to be nice. Oh, that thing. It's horrible. I said, how is it horrible? Oh, every time I put it on, it makes me want to go to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So as I've been here in New York and doing shows and doing readings, I had an interview with the Huffington Post about a couple of stories that I did in there. And the trigger was Child Protective Services, because born in the 70s, there was no Child Protective Services. And I can prove it. Okay? When I was a young kid, I used to wet the bed. I don't know if you could tell, but I used to wet the bed. Not anymore, because in the 70s, they had this cure called the Wee Alert. And it was this metal sheet attached to like jumper cables to like a battery. It was like made in East Germany. And I had a problem where I couldn't go to sleepovers, I couldn't do anything. So they put this thing on my bed, and my dad told me, what's going to happen is because your brain and your bladder aren't working together. So when you pee, it's going to shock you until they start working together. So I didn't sleep for 3 days. And the reporter from the Huffington Post was like, this is baloney. He researched it. He's like, oh my God, what a great story. So my mom saw the story in the Huffington Post, and she says, you know, your dad and I made the first baby monitor. And maybe you want to ask the reporter about that. I was like, what? Tell him what? What baby monitor? What are you talking about? Well, you know your brother Robert's 5 years older than you, right? And I was like, yeah, of course. Well, when I had to take him to nursery school, I didn't feel like dressing you both up. Your dad owned the pharmacy. It was about 10 minutes away. My dad owned a pharmacy called Saul's Prescription Center, and it had a logo, which is this, which is pretty cool, right? Right? So she said, I didn't want to have to dress you both up. So what I did was I put the crib in the kitchen, and you know the phone in the kitchen? I said the long corded phone. She said, yeah, I called your father and I put that in the crib, and then I drove Robert to nursery school. And I said, so what? Dad could hear what? I said, well, he could hear you like a baby. What, hear me choke? What's he going to do 10 minutes away? Right? So I said, Ma, I don't know if we could put that in the article. And she said, well, I did some research myself, and the statute of limitations has passed, so I can't get in trouble. So now I'm wondering what else she wants to put in the book. So like I said, I had pre-existing conditions. That's a trigger, that I wet the bed. So I couldn't go to sleepovers. I couldn't do anything. And then as I grew up, I had pigeon toes that weren't corrected. So I hurt my knees. So I had to get surgery, ACL surgery for my knee. And the doctor was cool, asked me about pre-existing conditions, and I said, I used to wet the bed. He's like, no, that's not what we're doing today. Don't worry about that. I said, I'm going to give you a local anesthesia. I'm going to put the sheet here, and I'll work on it, and you can be awake, but you'll be numb from the waist down. I said, okay, cool, let's do it. So he starts doing it, and it's all squishy, and it was freaking me out. So I said, knock me out, just knock me out. I don't want to deal. I wake up, there is fluid everywhere. And I'm like, I'm like, no! I said, doctor, I'm so sorry. Did I like pee on you guys? Like, I told you I had a pre-existing condition. Did I pee? He goes, no. You were really funny. You kept waking up. You kept coming in and out of consciousness and asking us if it was a boy or a girl. So maybe, I think, as the fifth child, 5 years apart from my closest brother, and my parents were very old when I was born, that I might have been channeling my inner female. Something like that. Maybe I should have been a girl. I don't know. But as I've sort of put this book together, there were things that I didn't realize were triggers. Like our school, when I was in 5th grade, had this thing called Father-Son Bonding Day. Horrible idea. It's a big trigger. So that day, the kid draws a picture of their dad, right? And then you leave the room, and all the dads come in, and they pick the picture. And if it matches their kid, they get to go to the Hartford Whalers. They get tickets to the hockey game, right? So I basically copied this, and my dad didn't get it. How? It's the spitting image, right? So father-son bonding turns into every summer, my brothers and I would get on the back porch, and my dad would shave our head. Not because we were skinheads, not because we were Nazis. It was just the summer, and we'd skin our heads. So one summer, I got, whoops, and I'm like, what? Why is my left ear numb and tingling? And if you look closely, it's in the book as well. There's a little piece of my ear missing from my head. I was pre-Evander Holyfield, by the way. Missing, right? So that turns into parliaments. Does anybody know what parliaments are? No? They're cigarettes. Does anybody remember what cigarettes? Parliaments. Parliament, the perfect recess. So another father-son bonding thing was we had a nice big backyard in the woods. And we'd sometimes have to get tick checked, like ticks, little bugs. So my dad, when he whoopsed, he also had the cigarette in his mouth while he was shaving our heads. So that could have been a problem. Whoops. So I come back and he's like, I got to check you out for ticks. And I had a tick right on my shin. And guess how you put out a tick? Put out a tick, I just told you. He took that cigarette and just burned it into my shin until the tick was gone. Fast forward, I went to university in New Haven, Connecticut. I don't want to name drop like Yale, but it was near there. And the first day we were there, we went to a bar, but we were the college kids, and unfortunately we went to the townie bar, which is not what college kids should do. So when I walked in, there's a guy smoking a Parliament, drinking a beer, and he goes, "Hey." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You want to do a test of wills? It's a game. It's a drinking game. Whoever loses buys the other guy a beer." And I said, "Oh, okay, sure, whatever." "Give me your arms." He pulls up my sleeve, and he pulls up his sleeve, and his has got all these little scars on it. And he puts our arms together, and he goes, "All right, I'm going to put my cigarette in between our arms, and whoever pulls away first has to buy the other guy a beer." And I was like, "I'm good." So I bought that guy a beer. And those are my fond, triggered recollections of parliaments, the perfect recess. Thank you very much. Now, people are going to say, when you say some of these, Philip, it's like the modern person complaining of, like, this next one is called a participation trophy or participation award, like everybody gets one, right? But when I was growing up in high school, our family was actually pretty good swimmers. And my second oldest brother swam with this guy, Stephen R. Schultz. And Stephen passed away his senior year. He had a heart attack in the swimming pool. And my brother started a memorial award for some, people for the next year you win the Schultz Award. So my brother Andrew won it, my brother George won it, and then it was my turn. Or I thought it was my turn. But just full disclosure, as you can tell, I'm a superior athlete. But I hated swim practice. I just did not understand the concept of, there's no strategy. Go in the water, swim, right? So I didn't practice a lot. I always found ways to get out of it. But as the year ended, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to win this award. This is going to be great, right? So we're at the awards banquet, and thank God this was before cell phones, because I would have been internet shamed forever, okay? So my brother's up there, and he's talking about me in these glowing terms, and I'm such an idiot. I get out of my chair, and I start walking up to the stage. just like this. And there's people that know I'm not winning this thing that are going, no. And I'm just like, just super happy, right? So I get up to the stage, and I'm right about to grab the award, and Andrew goes, and the award goes to Andy Skarzinski. And I'm like, oh. So Andy's very gracious. He says, thanks, Phil, for warming up the award. He takes it, and everything's great, blah, 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 right? I go back home. I'm like, what the hell was that? What are you talking so nicely about me? And I don't win the award. He goes, well, because I felt bad. And I was like, yeah, but I look like an idiot. And that's participation trophy. Later on, we'll have a group Q&A if you want to discuss any trophies you should have won or did not win or really want to win. And oh, this is even better. I got to go right from the book. I know I haven't really done the book yet. So this is the kids one. So that story about me embarrassing myself in high school, there's a class of 88 Facebook group, right, that we all post stuff in. So I wrote, hey, who was the jack wagon who got the wrong award in high school that was meant for someone else, right? And then I wrote, bonus, if you know who actually won it, I'll send you an Amazon gift card, right? So this, I literally write this just as fodder for the thing, for the book, for the page, right? I want to read this exact because it's really important. So the guy goes, this is so stupid. He goes, is it necessary to shame someone for their actions 34 years ago? Not cool in my opinion. And I wrote, Jeff, I'm sharing myself, which is the answer to the first part of the question, and praising the actual winner. What is wrong with everybody? Crickets. Y'all, you're just as mean as my friends in high school. So Jenna will appreciate this one. The trigger is outside. This is when she was a youngster. She may not remember this. She would say to me, Philip, what did you guys do before YouTube? Like, what did you do for fun? I said, we'd go outside. She goes, outside? Is that an app? I'm like, no. You go outside, you run around, you have fun. Now this next one is for my friend Nico. Now we're going to go outside the family circle a little bit. Nico is videographer, actor extraordinaire, wears many different hats, does voiceovers as well. But what you don't know is that his TikTok channel and his Instagram channel are blowing up because he's an excellent fisherman. Isn't that right, Nico?
Yes, sir.
That's right. So he brought me out on a boat to go fishing because I'm not a very good fisherman. And neither are the Galinskis in general. Down through generations and generations. So the trigger word is catch and release, okay? But before I go to Nico and I's trip, my nephew Greg and I went fishing, and Greg and I had a really rough day fishing. And we finally caught a fish. And so we're doing the picture. You know, I'm standing there with the pole, and the fish is on the pole, and Greg's here. And we're about to take the picture, and the fish flips off the hook, and it's going to get in the water. Greg goes down to get it, and he comes up, and the hook is in his nose. It's on page 36 of the book. I swear to God. In his nose, right? So he's like, what do we do now, Uncle Phil? And I said, well, first of all, move this way because we want to get pictures for Instagram. And of course, the moms on the boat dock are like, he's got to go to the hospital. We're like, get out of the way! You're blocking the light! So we take some pictures. And of course, there's an old man on the dock, right? Every dock has an old man. And he walks by and he's like, I seen a hook in the back. I seen one in the ear. Never the nose. And he's like, this is so cool! What's going to happen? I said, well, you're going to go to the hospital. Your dad's going to take you to the hospital, and they're going to probably take a needle in your nose and numb it so they can take out the hook. And now he starts crying. They're going to put a needle in my nose? I said you already have a hook in it! So 10 minutes later, they come back, and he's bouncing. I said, Jim, what happened? He goes, oh, he took it out. He didn't want to go to the hospital. He yanked out a hook from his nose. Fast forward to our trip with Nico. He goes, dude, last week I caught 40 fish with this guy, Mike. He drives the boat. He's really great, right? Really super fun personality, right? So some of you know that I do really bad jokes. They're really good. They're so good, they're bad. So we get together with Mike, and Mike is not giving me the energy, man. I said, Nico, what's up with this guy? And he goes, oh, he just broke up with his girlfriend. So before we get out on the water, I put my arm around Mike, and I go, Mike, let me tell you something, buddy, and you of all people should know this. There's plenty of fish in the sea. And we went out fishing. I still hear him telling me we caught 40 fish last time we went out with Mike. And I go, just to remind you that this is a trigger, catch and release, right? I said, you said you caught 40 fish, right? But if you catch and release, you caught a fish, you're putting it back in the water. Fish aren't the smartest things in the world. You caught the same fish 40 times. God. Look at him, he's so mad at me. And he knows it's true. So, let me see here. Oh, here's one for you that's from outside my family circle. So my other friend, the trigger is her aunt, or some people say auntie, okay? My friend is a huge Family Feud fan, loves the show. Wanted me to be on it with her family, but you have to be a blood relative or married. So I couldn't do it. So she's like, oh, I guess we'll use my auntie. And I said, okay, what's the deal with your auntie? Well, she's a little, sometimes she's not all the way there. So they go to Atlantic City where they shoot it, and they make it to the second round. And they set it up like the real game show, right? So their question is, what do you take away when you leave the restaurant? The dad says the check. The mom says a mint. My friend says a toothpick. And wait for it, Auntie says the silverware. And they almost made it to round 2. Now, people are going to say, well, you've been in New York for a long time. I said, yeah, and I live on 11th Street near Magnolia. Magnolia is a trigger not because the food is good. The trigger is, although the banana pudding is really good, but the trigger is, how does a place that serves the last legal drug, sugar, have only one cashier? How is that humanly possible? It is the most inefficiently run drug dealership of sugar that I have ever seen. Okay, so we're going through New York. So there's Magnolia. Then here's the other trigger for me, which is the word barbecue. But don't worry, it's not in the context you think. So did everybody, by a show of hands, feel the earthquake the other day? Right? And so what happened with me is all of a sudden I got like 5 or 6 mice come into my apartment because those things moved, right? So I don't like the glue traps. I don't like the metal slammy thing, right? Because it just freaks me out. So I go to the hardware store, and in New York, hardware stores are like the mafia. There's no prices on anything, and the guy will tell you how much you're going to pay, and you got to pay it, right? Sometimes they have that ladder they slide over. So this guy, I'm telling him about my problem, and he goes, oh, you want a barbecue. And I was like, huh? So the guy climbs up the ladder, he brings this thing down. It's like a shoebox. And it's got like a hole in the side. And he shows me, you put bait over here and batteries here. And what happens is, and the bait's usually peanut butter. He's like, what happens is the mouse goes in and banks a left takes the bait. When he turns back, the floor electrifies and zaps him and barbecues him. You don't have to look at it. You just put it in your toilet, flush it. Right? So I bring it home. Mice look at it, walk around it. Don't do anything with it. I go back furious. I'm like, what is this? You said, I said, put the peanut butter and nothing's happening. Oh yeah, that's right, it's spring. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's pepperoni. I said, get the hell out of here. He goes, no, seriously, put pepperoni in it. I put pepperoni in it, 6 dead. Bang, 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 bang. So I go back and thank him. I was like, man, barbecue. Barbecue! And he goes, yeah, just remember, in the winter, you got to put sushi in that thing. And I'm like, dang, these mice in New York, they're living good. So, because I'm a New Yorker, I'm going to share this other part with you. This is a trigger hack, and you're going to love this one. How much is an iced coffee in New York? Usually in the summer, they even jack it up even more, right? It's like $7, right? It's expensive, right? So this is what you do. When you go into the deli or wherever you get the coffee, you got the machines, right? You got the hot machines here and then the cold machines here. When you walk in, grab the cup that's for the hot, grab a large one, right? The hot cup, the cardboard one. Take it over to the cold machine, fill it up, okay? When you're done, put a lid on it, put the little thing around it, pretend it's hot. And then go up to the cash register and you'll pay like $1.50 or $1.75 for a $7 iced coffee. You're welcome. Thank you. Which leads me to why I came to New York. I'm a voiceover actor, I'm a writer, I'm an actor, and one of the words that as I put the book together, I was like, oh, auditions. Some of the craziest things have happened to me on auditions. So my second audition ever in New York, the manager calls me, says, I want you to go for this movie. I want you to talk about that monologue you wrote about you won't share your passwords to X video or any of these porn sites with your girlfriend. It's really funny, it's dark, they're gonna love it. So I go, and it's a cattle call. Now a cattle call is kind of like this room. It's filled with people, okay? Filled. And at the front, I could see them auditioning. So I said, all right, let me check out what's going on. So this first guy goes, and he does this monologue about his wife and his kid and the birth of his son, and then how he's lost it to drugs and alcohol, and there's tears coming down his face, and everybody they're bawling. And they're standing and clapping, and I'm like, what the? So I was going to leave, but as an actor, and you're jealous, and you compete, and you want to see the next person go, because I'm like, I'm supposed to do something funny. So the next person comes up, it's a guy, kind of a Wall Street guy, starts talking about all the money he's made, and then he starts crying, and I'm like, wait a minute. He's going to start saying he lost all his stuff to drugs and alcohol. So now I'm getting pissed. Right, I'm like, looking at the other actors, I'm like, this guy, right? Like, come on, you're basically doing the same monologue, except you're not married, you don't have a kid. And I'm like going, look, everybody, he's gonna start crying. This woman grabs my arm, she goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm here for the audition. She goes, this is an AA meeting. The audition's on the 2nd floor. I was heckling alcoholics at an AA meeting. Yeah, it is, right? It's a trigger. So I had another trigger from another thing. I actually booked Law and Order. Thank you very much. Thank you. Like every LA actor is like, what are you doing, dude? It's the only show in town. How can you not get on it? Right? And I had a nice little part. I had a man bud at the time. I was an auto mechanic. I moved the story along. I was halfway through the episode. All these LA actors are telling me, you know, the credits didn't run over your face? Like, this is a really, oh my God, you nailed it. And I'm like, yeah, but a lot of people on the set, especially the extras called me a dick. And I was like, but I'm not a dick, but dick things happen to me. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I booked a job, super excited, right? They say, okay, you're going to go on Riverside Drive. There's going to be vans there. You get into the vans. I'm going to take you to Yonkers where the auto garage is, right? So I get there early, because why? I'm not a dick, right? I get in the van, and I sit in the back. Why? Because I'm not a dick, right? I climb over the seats. I sit in the back. The thing loads up. The driver checks the mirror and says, okay, this is the van for extras. And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm in the wrong van. So I'm like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a speaking role, and then I'm climbing over, and they're like, what a dick! And I'm like, I'm not a dick. I am so sorry. I get out, the other van is black. There are 2 black vans. I had a 50-50 shot, right? So I get into the speaking role van, and they're in there, oh, what a dick! You got in the extras van. And I'm like, I'm not a dick, all right? So we get out in Yonkers, and all of a sudden, it's like Lord of the Flies. All the extras fucking hate me, and they're circling me. Oh, here's a dick. And I'm like, hey, guys, what's up? And all of a sudden, Mr. Galinsky, guy with a bullhorn. Mr. Galinsky, yeah, your trailer's right over here. I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm walking by, the extra fucking dick's got his own trailer. And I'm like, I didn't know I had my own trailer. So we do the scene where I'm with the 2 detectives. Now, this is a weird thing. This is another sub-trigger of the triggers, which next time I do the show, I'm probably going to have an outline and a projector. So the sub-trigger is gum. I never look at gum the same way again. So we're rehearsing with the cops, and all of a sudden, one of them takes out the gum and gives it to her partner and says, chew this. Does it taste weird? And all of a sudden, the director's like, action! And I'm like, what the fuck? So we do the scene, everything's great, we finish, everybody's happy, the extras are happy, we're going to get out early, right? And all of a sudden the director says, Philip, you're released, but everybody else has to stay, we got to do pickup shots, and blah, 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 right? So I go to the guy who's driving the van, and I say, hey, is it okay if I get a ride with you? He says, yeah, it'll just be you and me. And I said, where do you drop people off? And he goes, Chelsea Piers. And I said, oh, I actually live on 11th and Bleecker. He's like, yeah, I'll take you door to door. Fucking extras lose their mind. You fucking door-to-door dick. They're throwing bread at me from craft services as I'm ducking in the van. And I'm screaming out the window, I'm not a dick. Am I a dick? I'm a dick. Kind of? Kind of? Thank you. All right, fine. I'm a dick. You know what? I've gotten hurt by Me Too, okay? You want to come at me? Come at me with Me Too, because that affected me. It triggered me. Yeah, ladies, you can make eye contact with me. It's not a bad thing, all right? As a voiceover artist, I had one word, and I nailed it. Scoozy. Scoozy, okay? That probably should be the trigger, but I'm going to use Me Too. Scoozy. I nailed it. It's for JCPenney. It's their cookware. My agent says, oh my God, you're going to make so much money. It's one word. It's going to run during the holidays, during spring when people get married. It's this famous guy's cookware. Scoozy, right? So I go to the studio, and of course, the producers are like, so it's a bunch of ladies, and they're opening up gifts, and one of them says, it's like you have him in your kitchen. And then you hear, Scoozy, right? And I'm super excited, and they're like, did you prepare? And I'm like, yeah, man, I walked into Little Italy all morning just to make sure I got this right. So I get paid for the session. My agent's like, oh, it's going to run. It's about to run. It's about to go. We're going to do it. Excuse me. And it was for Mario Batali. And the day before it was supposed to come out, he got busted for sexual harassment. So that's my Me Too moment. Do I get any kind of love from the ladies in the room or no? Thank you. God. Scusi. All right, so I'm going to name drop some celebrities. Andy Samberg. You guys know him, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Not a hater of him at all, although it's a trigger. So, what the trigger is Andy Samberg. And also the trigger is that, as everybody knows here, no one reads anything that's posted on the internet. Nobody reads it, right? So he's on the cover of American Airlines magazine and my Huffington Post article got put in the magazine, right? So I write in social media, hey guys, check it out, I got into AA. And they write back, 12 steps, one day at a time. And I'm like, no, American Airlines magazine. Why would I post on social media in public that I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous? In public. Thank you for laughing, Chucka. And then another celebrity that I like to name drop a little bit. I'd love for you all to do this one. This is another coffee hack. Can you please, I'm begging you, my brothers know it, my nieces and nephews know it, I try to do it, and I don't go to Starbucks that often. But when I do, and they ask me, what's the name? Who's picking up this coffee? I say, Beyonce. I just want to hear the barista say, coffee for Beyonce! I just want to hear it once. And I can go grab it and say, it's for her. You guys don't want to do that? Come on. Oh, I'm sorry. No, wait. You're all Swifties. Oh, that's what it is. Fine. I'll change the name. Again, what I was talking about is that people don't read, or they don't read social media, and they judge you on your social media. So my brother and I were doing a show in New York and LA called the Manhattan Monologue Slam. We would go back and forth in New York and LA. And we would meet, especially me, like I told you before, I'm a superior athlete, so I was very handsome. I still am, but back then it was even better. And the girls would be like, oh, you guys know these actresses, you know, so many producers, and maybe we can exchange emails, and I can send you my portfolio, and blah, 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 blah. And no one really understands that I'm a lot older than I look, right? But because of Gina Tay after bath splash and some Noxzema, this is what you get. But my fatal flaw was this. Okay, yeah, let's exchange emails. And she goes, here's mine, blah, 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 Gmail. She says, what's yours? I said, P. Galinsky at Hotmail. Oh, how old are you? Does anybody have Hotmail? Go ahead, you can raise your hand. Yahoo? You have Hotmail? Yeah! Here you go. Be proud! I got rid of mine, you fucking loser. No, I'm just kidding. I still have it, but I don't know what it's for. I think everybody has Hotmail for like PayPal. And so, I got a few more for you. Are you feeling it? Are you good? Yeah. Okay. Are you hungry? No. Yeah. All right. How about this as a trigger? Crab legs. Crab legs.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, right? So I went out on a date off these apps. The names are so stupid. Tinder. I went on a date off of Tinder, right? Although the names are dumb. You know Bluetooth? You know where that came from? The name came from a pirate whose tooth was blue. Has nothing to do with the technology or anything. So any names for these dating? What's Hinge? What else is out there? Grindr? Why do I know them all and you guys don't know any of them? You fucking lawyers. What?
There's some gay ones.
Gay. Gay.
Adam and Adam.
Adam and Adam? Oh, I like that one. That's a good name. See, that makes sense. Planet Out. Okay, so I'm on this date, and we go to get crab legs.
Grindr?
Not Grindr, Tinder. We go to get crab legs, right? Nice, right? And they're expensive. But I'm trying to impress. We'll get the crab legs, we eat. I go to the bathroom, and I come back, and she goes, oh, I ordered some more crab legs to go for later. Oh. All right, nice. So I pay for the check, everything's good. We get outside. All of a sudden, her Uber comes up, sweeps her away with the bag of crab legs. Do you know what I was on? A foodie call. Not a booty call, a foodie call. Just be careful. Public service announcement. This is a great one. So, this is the cover of the book, right? I had an artist named Chavez make it for me. And Chavez is a very cool guy. Nothing bothers him. And I found a trigger that bothers him. Are you ready for it? He sends me the cover, and I look at it and I go, it's great, except it says 31 Tiggers, right? And I go, did you send that to piss me off on purpose? Did you send it that way on purpose? He goes, Photoshop! I'm like, yeah, you hate Photoshop, don't you? Yeah, I was like, dude, Photoshop's been around for 25 years. It doesn't have spell check? Canva, spell check. PowerPoint, spell check. Photoshop. How dare they? Why is it so quiet all of a sudden? No one uses Photoshop anymore? Maybe I should get a new artist. Okay, good. Thank you. Oh, here's one. Here's a good one. This is a friend of mine sent me. You know how sometimes people are like, oh, I got a trigger for you. And they don't mean to be mean. I got a trigger for you for your little show. You know, the one you do in the library in front of 6 people. Yeah, thanks. He goes, the drive-in. I said, no one knows the drive-in anymore. I remember the drive-in because they used to pay by the person. And you know what my brothers did? They put me in the trunk. Yeah, I was on the trunk on the Berlin Turnpike to go to the drive-in. And then they would let me out after we got in because they saved money on the admission, right? So this guy says, no, my trigger is a drive-in. My parents took me and my brother when we were little to go see Flash Gordon at the drive-in movie theater. And they drove and they saw the sign and it said Flesh Gordon. So they thought maybe they misspelled it. Parked, put the microphone thing on the window and get ready to start, and it was a porno. It was a drive-in porno theater featuring the movie Flesh Gordon. Oh, two things. One, and this is technology-based. Mike Gonzalez, okay, is a trigger for me, okay? And you'll understand why as we connect the dots. I use talk to text a little bit. Does other people use talk to text a little? So my friend, we did a job together, and he goes, hey, did you get paid for the job? And I said, oh, yeah. And then he said, oh, I haven't got my money yet. And so I talked to text. Just get the money from Mike Gonzalez. Talk to text says, just get the money from my penis. And I almost sent it. But I don't piss away money, okay? There you go. It's like a call turned to no. All right, then fine. I'll do the Venmo hack for you. I used to, before I got canceled, and I'll get to this point, I used to do podcasts with high school kids. And a couple of people here know I used to work with them and do podcasts for social advocacy. And my phone would ring sometimes, and they'd be like, pick it up, just pick it up. And I said, I don't know the number, I'm not picking it up. I'll just wait for them to leave a voicemail. And they don't leave a voicemail, right? So then you see that number in your phone, and you're going, nuts! They go, you don't know the Venmo hack? And I said, what's the Venmo hack? Take the person's number, put it in Venmo, and it'll tell you who it is. And I was like, oh, thank God, that was beautiful. So, moving forward to how I got canceled, I did these podcasts. We won an award for doing really great work. And at the awards party, everybody knows I joke around, so I told a joke. I'll tell you the joke, okay? Where is the best place to work if you only have one leg? IHOP. Okay? So apparently I offended the one-legged community, which was not my intent. So they said, you're not working with us anymore, you can't do this. And I said, okay, that's a shame. You know, I really like to do the podcast. So the kid said to me, you should fight it, Philip, fight it! So I said, I could, but what am I fighting for? They're going to treat me differently when I come back if I win, right? So I go to Legal Aid Society and I say, is there a case here? And they're like, well, what's the joke? It's got to be. And I told them the joke and they're like, actually, that's really funny. And we can't really do anything to defend you. And I said, you know what? I figured as much because, I was a consultant. I really wasn't there. I didn't have a leg to stand on. Jenna? Thank you. So, I'm going to wrap it up. Are you fine with me wrapping it up? Triggered? This one, I like, and I'm going to just say it. It's karaoke, but it's Whitney Houston. Okay? Whitney Houston does a song with Shaka Khan. You know that? Na, 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 right? So I was at a karaoke thing, and I was like, you know what? If I do this, I will kill at karaoke. Who could, try to outshine Whitney? And I'm like, I'm doing it. I can do this because I know this song and I love this song. So it starts, comes up to the big moment of the chorus, and I go, time every moment, it's all you need. And it was like a record skipping. Everybody's like, time every moment? That's what you think that's what she's saying? I said, yeah, time every moment. Every woman wants to time every moment. No, it's I'm every woman. And I was like, oh, God, the shame. But the final piece I will leave you with tonight is abbreviations. Because I think all of us in this room hate abbreviations. Am I right? Right? Say the words. You don't have to write the letters, right? This happened to me and my brother Jimmy on our birthdays. We got texts from our group text chain, HBD. That's all. You don't write happy birthday. You can't write that? So I was furious. And I get a letter a few weeks later from my niece Lauren. And I said, oh, wow, maybe she's sending me a card to apologize. That's kind of nice. I didn't know anybody knew I was pissed. So I get the card, and it's a beautiful wedding invitation. She's getting married. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then I said, this is great. So I got on the social medias, and I typed, so happy. My niece just gave me an STD. 2 seconds later, what is this? What is STD? I said, save the date. That's what it is. Oh, well, people think that I gave you a sexually transmitted disease. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I just abbreviated it. That's all. Thank you. I need like 10 of you in here. So, as I leave you tonight, and I thank you for coming, if we can fake it, Nico, let's have everybody on the count of 3 just start laughing like this was hysterical so we can record it. You got it? You ready, Nico? All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. You need to do it again? One more time. And laugh and sprinkle in, oh, that got me triggered. Oh, whatever. Branding. Not to tell you what you should do. Ready? You ready? 3, 2, 1.
That triggered me. I love.
I got triggered too.
I love this. I triggered my friend.
Perfect. You got it? Catch and release. You got it? All right. So let me leave you with one thing, if I can tonight. Thank you for coming. Buy the book. I'll send you a free audio copy of the book if you can send me your email or find me on the Instas, Faces. But I'm begging you, tonight and beyond, but especially tonight, if you're going to be sexually active, don't just lay there. Good night, New York! By the way, if anybody has a trigger that they want to share with the group, jump on stage right now. If not, get the hell out of here.
TY.
TY? Oh. TTY, right? Talk to you later?
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, very good. TY, TMI, TY. UNITY. Well, that was fun, everybody. Thank you. That was great. 49 better.